Social expectations for upper class in Europe. Historically, the expectations for the upper class in Europe were deeply rooted in social hierarchy, tradition and power structures. These expectations varied slightly by region and era, but some core themes remained consistent across medieval, Renaissance and early modern Europe. Here's a breakdown. First, social expectations, the art of refinement. Upper class individuals were expected to embody refinement, etiquette, and grace. Social gatherings such as banquets, balls, and salons were not just about entertainment. They were platforms for displaying one's sophistication and understanding of social norms. Men were expected to be well-spoken, educated, and skilled in diplomacy. Women were expected to be graceful, modest, and knowledgeable in household management, the arts, and polite conversation. Conduct was everything. Public displays of anger, vulgarity, or lack of self-control were seen as signs of lower breeding. Brutal, but this is how it was. Second, educational expectations, cultivating the mind. Education was a hallmark of the upper class, designed to distinguish them from the common folk. Men received classical education, studying Latin, philosophy, rhetoric, mathematics, and history. They were also trained in leadership, military strategy, and governance. Women, while not always formally educated, were expected to be literate, well-read, and skilled in music, embroidery, and sometimes foreign languages. Men actually very often were also skilled in music, so actually this applies to both. Travel was another form of education. The Grand Tour, popular during the 17th and 18th centuries, saw young aristocrats traveling through Italy, France, and other cultural hubs to broaden their horizons. Third, economic expectations. Wealth as a responsibility. While wealth defined the upper class, it came with clear expectations. Land ownership. Most aristocrats derived their income from land and managing estates. Estates efficiently was crucial. Estates. Okay, I think that I pronounced that correctly. Philanthropy, giving to the poor, founding churches, or supporting the arts was expected both as a moral duty and a way to display generosity. It still is actually, if we're talking about generosity and charity, still in upper class, there is a way to compete with others who gonna give more money to less fortunate people, so which is actually great. Business and trade. While some nobles engaged in trade, it was often looked down upon as middle class unless done discreetly. 4. Marital and family expectations, strategic alliances. Marriage among the upper class was rarely about love. It was a strategic alliance to secure power, land, or influence. Women were expected to marry into families that could enhance their family status. They were also expected to produce heirs, preferably male, to continue the bloodline. Men were expected to choose wives who brought a strong dowry, good family connections, and a reputation for virtue. 5. Political and civic expectations, leadership and loyalty. The upper class was expected to play a significant role in governance and public life. Men often served as advisors to the king, members of parliament, military leaders, or local magistrates. Loyalty to the crown was paramount, supporting the monarchy, participating in court life, and contributing to state affairs were seen as duties. Women participated in politics behind the scenes, using social influence to advance their families' interests. If we're talking about diplomacy, very often women were doing this. For men, it was something below men's standard, and men usually prefer to say everything straightforward, straight in the face, and if anyone was using any kind of diplomacy, usually those people, these were women, and when men were seeing each other at in public meetings, their wives usually they were meeting obviously with each other behind the scene, and they were actually diplomats very often. So, religious expectations, faith and piety. Well, okay, so religious expectation, faith and piety. 6. Religion was central to upper class life, not just as personal belief, but as a social identity. Regular attendance at church was mandatory. Funding religious institutions such as monasteries and churches was seen as both a duty and way to display wealth. Acts of charity were viewed as signs of moral character. 7. Cultural expectations, patronage and taste. The upper class was expected to support and appreciate the arts as it reflected their status and taste. Patronage. Wealthy nobles often sponsored painters, writers and musicians. Fashion. Clothing was more than just attire. It was a statement of status. Sumptuary laws even regulated what different classes could wear. Entertainment. Participation in cultural activities like theater, poetry and music was both expected and admired. If you're gonna look right now at Philharmonic, if you're gonna go to a concert, half of people who are there, they just came not for music but to show off. Just to show up. So in this recording, that's gonna be all. Next time I'm gonna probably talk about expectation in every era in Europe. Alright, so take care guys.